Okay, I want to say something that might feel a little uncomfortable at first. I've met a lot of doctors with a high net worth who still feel completely stuck. I mean, they're doing everything right. They're making good money. Maybe they're maxing out their retirement accounts, watching their spreadsheet grow every year. And yet they still feel trapped by their schedule. They're still stressed about cutting back, still dependent on their next shift. So today I want to talk about why that happens and why early on cash flow matters way more than net worth if you actually want your life to feel different. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Passive Income MD podcast, where we talk about creating your ideal life through multiple streams of income. If you enjoy hearing about this stuff, make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get on with the show.
Now I want to start this with a confession. For a long time, I truly believed I was doing everything right financially, at least by conventional measures. Like I was making good money. This is when I became an attending. I was saving pretty well. I was saving aggressively because I wasn't used to making that kind of income. I didn't have any kids at that point, and my net worth was starting to climb every single year. And yet I still carried this constant low level stress and anxiety. Again, it wasn't panic, just this background noise, this sound in the back of my head that really never shut off. It was as if I knew if something changed at work, maybe I burnt out or got exhausted or they changed the terms on me, or maybe I didn't feel like going anymore, my passions changed, or I wanted to even step back a little bit, things would get uncomfortable financially pretty fast. And at the time, I didn't fully understand why. But looking back, it's obvious now. I had a growing net worth, but I had no buffer. And there's one question that eventually stopped me in my tracks. And again, no one asked it to me directly. It just came in my head one day. Like, what if I stopped working tomorrow? How long would my life feel okay? How long could I sustain that? What was my runway? I wasn't just talking about when I hit retirement, just at any point. Would I be fine financially? Would I be fine emotionally? Would it be fine from a stress standpoint? And when I answered that honestly, I figured out my runway was really, really short. And that didn't feel good because I felt like I was doing the best I'd ever done. And on paper, it seemed like I was winning. And that's when I realized something a lot of doctors miss early on. Net worth and freedom are not the same thing. I mean, most of us are taught the same financial script. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Work hard, save aggressively, max out retirement accounts, let compound interest do its thing over time, and hopefully you'll have enough at the end of the day to retire when you're 65 years old. And listen, none of that is wrong. Those fundamentals, I still believe in a lot of that. But here's what we're not told early enough. Net worth, it's like a future metric. It's a little bit of a vanity metric. It rewards patience, but it doesn't reward presence in the current day. It doesn't care if you're exhausted right now. It doesn't care if you have a health issue. It doesn't care if you want to spend more time with your kids. It doesn't care if medicine starts to feel a little heavier than it used to. Net worth is great at telling you the story of where you might be someday, but it's terrible at helping you live the life you want right now.
Hey everyone, I have a question for you. What if there was a way to make your money work for you instead of the other way around? Let me ask you, are you looking for a way to create passive income and secure your financial future? Or maybe you've stayed away from real estate because you don't have time to be a landlord. Then I want to introduce you to Passive Real Estate Academy. It's the revolutionary platform that we created that teaches you how to invest in real estate passively with little or no effort on your part. In just 4 weeks, our comprehensive course will teach you everything you need to know about passive real estate investing and help build that confidence in you so that you know that you're making a great investment choice. We created this course for busy people like you, and we're going to guide you from every step of the way, from understanding even the most basic information to understanding the jargon and understanding underwriting so you can make sure that you're making a great investment, that you're maximizing your returns and minimizing your mistakes. And the best part, you can do this all from the comfort of your own home with absolutely no prior experience required. So it's time to prepare yourself and learn so that you can be ready for these deals that you see because the time is coming. So don't let the demands of your job or the current economic climate dictate your financial future. So join Passive Real Estate Academy and build that confidence to know that you're making a great investment when it comes to syndications and funds. So visit our website at passiverealestateacademy.com to learn more and take your next step to financial freedom. Now back to the show.
I hear this all the time from other physicians. On paper, I'm doing really well. I just don't feel free. I feel like I don't have a choice. And so when we look under the hood a little bit, it's usually the same situation. Most of their money is locked up. They're in retirement accounts they feel like they can't touch till they're 60 years old or the next 30 years, whatever it is. They have home equity, but that doesn't pay the monthly bills. They have market gains, but again, it's all trapped in these accounts. So even with an impressive net worth, their lifestyle is still 100% dependent on their next shift, their next paycheck. That's a really fragile place to be. And for physicians, I know it feels like it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't feel like we're paycheck to paycheck. And I know that people from the outside have no idea what I'm talking about. And let me tell you about when it finally started clicking for me. I mean, I remember the first time cash flow changed how I felt. Now, it wasn't super dramatic. It didn't replace my income all at once. It wasn't some I quit medicine moment. It was a time when I invested in real estate. I invested in this passive investment. And one month it deposited a small amount in one of my bank accounts. I just happened to look and I was like, whoa, what is that? And it actually came through. I saw a small check in there. And I remember thinking that would probably pay for takeout for myself and my wife. But it wasn't about the money. I got so excited by that thing because I realized it was something that I was able to create outside of medicine. And it was cash flow. It was something in my bank account that I could use today. I realized I could pay for something without me putting in more time, without me working more. And that feeling really surprised me. Again, it wasn't about the amount. It was about what it was able to do for me. And I realized I could scale that. I could grow that. And that feeling, I'll be honest, it surprised me a little bit. It wasn't necessarily pure excitement, even though I say I was excited. It wasn't necessarily pride, even though it was something that I realized that I had figured out. It was almost a sense of relief. For the first time, it felt like a piece of my life wasn't tied directly to my time that I put in at the hospital, at the clinic. And that's when it clicked. Cash flow doesn't have to be huge to be powerful. It just has to be real. It has to be something in your bank account. Now, early in your investing journey, if that's where you're at, cash flow isn't about getting rich. It's about buying a buffer. It's about buying things that can buy your time back. It's about margin in your schedule, margin in your decisions, margin in your brain, in your nervous system, that buffer there. I mean, when even a small portion of your expenses is covered outside of medicine, something begins to shift internally. You don't feel as desperate. You don't feel like you're racing so hard anymore. You stop saying yes to things out of fear. You find the ability to say no a lot easier. You stop feeling like one vacation could derail everything. And that optionality changes how you show up, not only at work, but also at home. Cash flow, it begins to change your relationship with medicine. And I promise it's for the better. When you're not fully dependent on your paycheck, you begin to practice differently. You tolerate things differently. You advocate for yourself more. You stop internalizing every bad thing that's happening there or a bad shift as a threat to you personally. I mean, ironically, I believe that many doctors become better clinicians when they're less financially dependent on medicine, when they don't feel cornered. Fear, it's a terrible long-term motivator. I think we all know that. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about being anti-net worth. Of course, I love the concept of net worth, and I think there's a lot of value to tracking that. In fact, I recommend everybody do that. This is not about anti-stocks. This is not about being anti-retirement accounts. This is about sequence. Now, early on, I believe cash flow stabilizes your life. Later on, again, all that growth, it does compound your wealth. Now, most doctors, I think, flip that order. Now they chase net worth first and hope that freedom magically shows up later. And sometimes it does. Often it doesn't, especially when you need it there the most. And again, that freedom, it doesn't arrive all at once. It shows up quietly. It's one expense covered, one shift that you could drop, one vacation that you can take without feeling that pressure, one boundary that you're able to make without some sense of fear. And that's how gradual freedom begins, not with some sort of dramatic exit, but with, decreasing your dependence little by little. And that's why cash flow matters so much early on. So let me leave you with this. If a small amount of cash flow came in every month, you can decide what that check is. If I were to hand that to you every single month, what would change right now? Not someday, but right now. Would you breathe a little easier? Would some of those shifts feel a little lighter? Would you make different choices in how you spend your time? Because if most of us weren't chasing money, but we are chasing more control, fulfillment, chasing our time, presence, even the ability to choose, cash flow is one of the first places that choice shows up. Just something to think about this week. Hope you have an incredible week, and let's talk again soon. Thanks, everyone.
enjoy the show? Let me know by dropping a review in the podcast app you're listening to us in. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe. Join thousands of physicians who are also on this journey to creating their ideal lives through multiple streams of income. Learn more at our website, passiveincomemd.com. Thanks again for allowing me to be a part of your journey. See you next time.